The Baseball Together Network presents the Seattle Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Jewell Young. And now, Seattle Baseball Together.
Welcome to this month's episode of the Seattle Baseball Together podcast, and thank you for joining us again for another monthly Seattle Mariners fan therapy session. Joining us on the couch here, I am one of your hosts. My name is Brad, and as always, I'm joined by our guy, Jewell. How are you this month, Jewell?
Congested, but feeling great.
He's gonna fight through. He's gonna fight through for us. We're gonna be here for about an hour. We'll say about an hour. Think you can make it through an hour, Jewell?
I prefer the baseball family, of course.
Of course. Excellent. All right. Good to hear, Jewell. All right. This month, let's go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to recap the month of June. I can't believe that it's already the end of June, Jewell. Like, we're like a month away from the trade deadline. We got a couple weeks till the All-Star break. This season is just flying by, and I don't love it just because of the way things have gone. Before we get too far into things here, let's go ahead. We're going to recap the month of June. Talk about some transactions because there have been a lot of them. And then we each have 5 takeaways from the month that we want to share. So first things first, June, I feel like as a whole, Jewell has been much, much better than May.
A ton better.
Right?
It's like May was rough, but June has seen a lot of wins, some really soul-crushing losses, but literally the best starting pitching in the MLB.
Yes. Yeah, the best pitching in baseball right now, or starting pitching at least. The problem is the bats have been ice cold, right?
Bats have been not good.
Like, that's terrible. So I have right here, so compared to the month of May, so the Mariners went 10-18 in May, scored 106 runs, gave up 131. In June, as of today, because they beat the Orioles during the day, today is Wednesday, 15-13, and what they score 9 runs today, so 105-96, right? So almost as many runs, but the defense and pitching has been way, way, way better. I feel like they're headed in the direction they need to be, right?
Oh, absolutely, especially with some key guys on the field again. Kyle Lewis is back on the field. Mitch Hanniger's back on the field.
I
think it's working.
I think it's a matter of days before we get those guys back. At least Kyle Lewis. It's encouraging to see that he's back around the team. For those of you who don't know, he took a fastball, so he got hit in the shoulder. But then, as he went to dodge the ball, his helmet came off, and then the ball, as it glanced off his shoulder, hit him in the head without a helmet. So he got a concussion, and he's been out for a while. And I've seen people saying like, "Oh, he should be back by now. He should be back." It's like, no,
that's concussions. I mean, baseball family, I've had 5 of them, and they each have been incredibly different. They each have put me on my butt for a different amount of time. One I was blacked out for about a minute, and the other ones weren't as bad. I was this close to second impact syndrome on my fourth one. Luckily, I just worsened my symptoms. I didn't have anything worse, but concussions are no joke. They literally, Kyle Lewis said, they keep you in bed he said he didn't leave the bed for a week or 10 days.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. I got one in high school. I took a fastball to the back of the head, and then my coach was like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, how many fingers, ball messing with me," not really doing like a concussion check. And so they sent me back out there to play catcher, and I was missing every ball. And they're like, "Catch the middle one." I'm like, "Well, there's only 2." And he's like, "Wait, are you serious?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, you need to come out.
Yeah, like, you're done. You're done. You're done.
So concussions are no joke. If Kyle Lewis missed a couple more weeks because that's what it took, I'd be fine with it. Like, the dude can take as long as he needs. Yes. A, he's earned it, and B, I care more about his long-term health than getting on the field right now because that's what matters.
One guy I'm a little worried about as far as injuries is, go ahead with Mitch Hanniger, and then we'll go to
I was going to say, Mitch Hanniger has been out there. We saw him take batting practice yesterday. I think he ran the bases as well, right?
I don't think he's running the bases, but he said he's been jogging every day for the last, 2 weeks.
He's
done a lot of jogging, really, so the activity's been there. He's kept his body in shape, which is, what a lot of guys try to do, depending on the injury. That's why pitchers can kind of push back quicker, closer to their 10 days. Ty France, he'll probably push back closer to his 10 days just because, he can keep his body moving. He can use everything else, some plasma injections, and he'll probably be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we'll see Mitch Hanniger go down for a rehab assignment here within the next week or so. And I think he'll be back on the field. It's been projected since the beginning that he was going to be back about the All-Star break, but I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see him for a week before the All-Star break, and that will be enough to get him going, and he's going to be ready to come out of the gate for the second half of the season. It'll be fantastic. You were going to talk more about, was it Ty France or was it Luis Torrens getting hurt in a brawl?
Oh, no one cares about Luis Torrens. No, it's Ty France. He got hurt in the brawl. Or no, he got hurt against the A's. I'm sorry, you said brawl, and that's where my head went. He got hurt against the A's. It looked a lot worse than it actually was, come to find out. Thank goodness.
Bad.
It looked real bad. It looked like there was going to be some tears and stuff, and it's just a strain. It's a grade 2 strain, which is good. As of today, apparently, he's, swinging at about 60%, using a fungo. He's really pushing it. Service said he's pushing it. He doesn't want to miss any more time than he absolutely has to.
Yeah. They're more worried about him trying to do something stupid to get back. Which is a valid concern, especially for a competitor. I mean, a guy like Ty France, he wants to get back. He wants to be out on the field, and especially with the season he's having. He could be an all-star.
He likely will. I don't know if he'll be a starter just because the Blue Jay fans, there's more of them than...
And not only that, but the name recognition. Name recognition goes a long way.
Exactly. But Ty France is second, so it's very likely that he gets a nod. It's very likely that I would say even Julio. I think he's in like 6th place.
I think he'll get in. Yeah.
And then today was the last day because there's going to be injury replacements all over the place.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So I have more good news about June, Jewell. Besides just the record, the Mariners won 6 of 9 series during the month of June.
They did.
And that's fantastic.
That was nice.
Because that's one of the things I remember in 2001 when obviously, when the Mariners won all those games. I remember all season long it was another series win. It wasn't how many they were winning in a row, it's how many series in a row they were winning. And so the Mariners beat Baltimore, Texas, Houston, Oakland, beat the Angels. We'll get there in a minute, and then today they clinched the series against the Orioles. That I feel like that one against Houston was huge. It was in Houston.
Yeah.
And B, the Mariners have played so well against the Astros this season.
They played really well this season against the Astros. They have not let them just beat up on them like they have since 2017 for the last 5 years. The Mariners have just been absolutely crushed. Except when Justin Verlander's on the mound. Except when JD's on the mound.
Currently 6-6 with a +12 run differential against the Astros. That is a really big deal because if they can get a couple more wins against them before the end of, because I think they are done playing them in July.
Yeah, and then it's
end of July. Yeah, and other than that, I'm a little bit worried about the Angels because for some reason they match up really well against the Mariners this year. But I'm not worried about the Rangers. I'm not worried about the A's. A bunch of in-division games against those guys.
But the A's are our weekend series this weekend coming up.
Yes.
This is a 3 out of 4, or it's going to be interesting going into the break. This is a must-win 3 of 4, and they have the right pitchers going. They have Gilbert, Kirby, Marco, Ray.
They do. Yeah, they do. And the last couple of years, the Mariners have matched up really well against the A's. They crushed them last season. They played well against them this year, swept them last week in Oakland, which I think is tough. Hopefully they can do something similar to or do the same thing in Seattle. So I'm looking forward to that. Jewell, we got to talk brawling just for a minute, though, before we get to our other stuff here.
Of course.
So, we all saw it. We're obviously going to be on the same side of the fence with this. The thing that started the whole thing was Swanson going up and into Mike Trout, right?
But unintentionally.
Exactly. That's the problem.
You watch it, and it was unintentional. And then the Angels decided to switch their pitcher Sunday morning to an opener specifically for a player who could go out and get tossed, no repercussions.
Exactly.
Threw behind Julio's head at like upper 90s.
Yeah.
And then hit Winker on the butt. Like, at least it was on the butt. That was kind of nice that he did that, but that's an intentional spot, you know?
It is. Yeah, he meant to do it. And
yeah.
And the thing, so do you listen? You listen to David Sampson? Nothing personal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you hear when he talked about this? He's like, Artie Moreno ordered the hit. If he didn't order it, he told him to go ahead, because he's like, as a front office, we knew every single intentional hit by pitch that was coming, and
100%.
so he's like, there's no way he didn't know. There's no way he was like, wait, why is Andrew Wantz starting instead of Jose Suarez?
And that's why Nevin got such a hard. That's why Nevin got 10 games.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was enough, because man, he really instigated, because he and Rendon were really trying to get Winker.
Chirping.
They were really trying to get Winker to come after him. Because that was my other thing too. Was, did you notice that like when Winker comes over, he wasn't met by Trout. He wasn't even met by Jared Walsh.
Yeah, no, I don't think Walsh, Ohtani, or Trout even got into it. I think they were standing outside trying to break it up.
Trout, the only thing Trout did was he went and he pulled Justin Upton out because he was on the ground. That was the one thing Trout did, but he never got involved at all.
And
but it was Rendon. It was Rendon and pitchers and coaches who were greeting Winker like they had strategically placed guys there because they knew he was going to come over. Mm-hmm. Like that was their plan all along, and that really bugged me. Like that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh yeah, no, it was all bad, all bad.
So then, did you see this? The White Sox. I didn't see who the pitcher was. Somebody for the White Sox on Tuesday night went up and in on Trout.
I didn't know that.
Exact same location as Swanson. Nothing.
The White Sox are just I don't even know how to evaluate the White Sox this year. So,
well, the White Sox are a mess. That's the way to evaluate them. But that's the thing though that really irked me was that like somebody joked on Twitter like, "Well, Andrew Wantz is starting on Wednesday,"
Mm-hmm.
But the Angels did nothing about it. Like you cannot come after Seattle saying that they were intentionally throwing at Mike Trout when the whole league knows you pitch him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot pitch Trout low. You've got to pitch him up.
Got to pitch him up, yeah. And I thought it was interesting, just like the comp, like to comp Trout to Harper. They both got thrown at within a couple days, and Trout didn't get hit.
Harper didn't get thrown at. He got hit.
He got hit, yeah. But Harper, Trout, if he would have got hit, it would have been unintentional. It would have been unintentional. Harper's was unintentional, and he just took it. He even accepted an apology before going out the field. A lot like
he did.
Trout. Like there was no bad blood. There was no bad blood. There was no retaliation the next day by the Phillies.
And Harper's season might be over.
8 weeks.
Yeah,
he thinks he's going to come back in like 4, but
I don't know, man. If I'm the Phillies, I look at the season and think maybe let's let that elbow rest.
Elbow, thumb, all of it.
Yeah,
but we digress.
No, and the last thing with this, the other problem I had with it was what Mike Trout said was when he said, if you can't pitch inside, don't. It's like, well, do you want your guy to Lorenzen to not pitch inside either? Because he hit Justin Upton in the head. He actually hit him.
Yeah.
So,
and again, the players reached out to Upton on that one, said, "Yo, are you okay? You doing good?" Talk to him the next day on the field.
Like, did the Mariners need to reach out to Trout and say, "Hey, no ill will. There was nothing. There was no intent there." Like, did they need to do that? Because the Angels didn't even.
Imagine someone did.
I would think so, but but there was no sign of anybody being upset during the game.
None.
Right? Like, it's not like anybody was barking at Swanson saying, "Hey, don't throw up on our guy." Like, no, it was like, "Oh, hold on to that one, put it in your pocket for tomorrow morning."
Yeah. It's like Artie Moreno's like, we need a spark.
I'm sure that's what it was. And then they go and they beat the White Sox pretty good on Monday, but then Tuesday they got stomped.
And that game, Trout and Ohtani both homered in that game too, and they got stomped.
And it's like that meme that's like Mike Trout went 4 for 4 with 3 home runs, and Ohtani did something that hasn't been done since Tungsten Arm O'Neal, and the Angels still lost to the Tigers 13-5.
And then
Because that's the way things go for the Angels.
And just to even make it even worse, Phil Nevin as a manager, total 18 games, games won. This was the day
7.
after the suspension. Games won, 7. Games suspended, 10.
Yeah.
The first manager in history to be suspended for more games than they've won. And to be suspended for the first half of their career.
Yeah. It's unreal. It's and the one thing I did like was across the league, fans calling the Angels a trash organization. It's like, it makes me feel pretty good that people think that the Angels are trash for doing this, because I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
No one liked it.
All right. So there were some suspensions we talked about on the big show. There's a clip on YouTube. You can go back and watch that or listen to the entire episode. Came out on Tuesday if you want. But Jewell, go ahead and run us through some of the suspension, or not suspensions, some of the transactions we've seen this month.
The suspensions are still in appeal.
Right. So that's nobody's missed any time yet.
Yep, but one thing that the MLB did say, this is just the last thing, promise baseball family, that they can stagger the suspension for Julio, Wink, and JP, but they cannot call up a replacement player.
Right, and that's why they can stagger them, which I think is fine. You can go, and this is the thing I said at the time. I was like, we can lose 2 out of 3 of those guys, but if we lose all 3, we're losing this game. Like, I had no faith that they were going to win that game.
No.
With all 3 of those guys gone, I have no problem trotting out 2 of the one of the 3 even.
Same.
In a series against the A's, if that's what it takes. But
yeah, I'm sure we'll know more tomorrow. But anyways, back to the top. So some minor league deals that were signed. You had a bunch of pitchers, some infielders, and you had right-handed pitcher Jacob Barnes, who signed a minor league deal with the Mariners. I thought it was interesting just because he does have 247.1 innings pitched at the MLB level with a 4.73 ERA and a 252 Ks to 108 walks.
I mean, Billy Hamilton signed a minor league deal.
That's true. But that's good bullpen depth right there. Jacob Barnes, he's been in the MLB. He's played on some decent teams and whatnot. So we saw Ken Giles and Eric Swanson both come back. The Mariners acquired Ryan Barucki from the Blue Jays. Since he has been very good for the Mariners, a great.
Yeah, he had that one outing that was pretty. He had that one outing that was pretty brutal, but he's been good since then.
Yeah. Other than that, he's been good. Claimed infielder Kevin Padlow, DFA'd Steckenrider. And these are in order, so we're going through the month from the beginning to the
Steckenrider was straight up like released, wasn't he?
After he cleared waivers? He passed and he's in AAA. He's in AAA.
Okay. All right.
Evan White started a rehab assignment on the 14th. Drew Ellis was claimed off waivers on the 16th. Justin Upton was recalled on the 17th. Haggerty was optioned. Malone was selected on the 18th. Finally got into a game yesterday. Maybe the day before. He was crushing it at AAA. So
I feel like all those guys crushed it in AAA.
Yeah.
I don't know what is in the Gatorade down in Tacoma, but all those guys played really well down there.
Agreed. And then Justice Sheffield was up for the 18th and then optioned back on the 19th. The 20th was a very important day for transactions because this was a day that they DFA'd Romo, Elias, activated Giles, it called up Padlow, and that's when the rosters were shrunk as well. But that was I'd like to know the record since then, since the 20th, but
I'm on it.
I'll keep going. On the 24th, Ty France was landed on the IL, 10 days. I doubt he returns before the All-Star break. I seriously do. Drew Ellis was recalled on the 25th. And this one was interesting. On the 25th, the Mariners traded the Reds for outfielder Trey Ambergy. In the minors, he's a career 267, 320, 439 hitter with a 313 BABIP, 74 home runs, 319 games across various levels in the minor leagues since 2015. So this is a very interesting, quiet, depth acquisition right there.
Yeah.
It's very quiet, but a very solid minor league track record.
So real quick, since the 20th, the Mariners are 7-2.
So, and
No
Giles has been really good. He had one kind of rough-ish outing, but outside of that, since the 20th, when they made these moves, something clicked on the 20th. Personally,
yeah. And of those 2 losses, one was the brawl.
The
Mariners were down 3 guys, down 3 starters, and then the other one was the next day when Kirby got roughed up, just had a bad outing.
Yeah.
So.
Which rookies happen.
Yeah.
He had to get one. He had to get it out of the way eventually.
Yeah.
Rather do it in June than in August, September, pushing for a playoff position. On the 27th, the Mariners traded Wyatt Mills and right-handed pitcher William Fleming to KC for Carlos Santana. In June, Santana's been 33 for 69 with a 357, 478, 554 slash, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, 13 walks. Santana has a very good track record of productive summers and productive falls. He's great at getting on base.
Slow starter, basically, is what you're saying.
Very slow starter. But once he gets going, he's smart. He's old. He's like 36, 37. And he gets on base a lot. He walks a ton. Also on the 27th, the Mariners placed Luis Torrens on the IL, recalled catcher Andrew Knapp from Tacoma, which I didn't agree with. I thought if anyone should have got called up, it should have been Brian O'Keefe.
Knapp's got more. Knapp's got experience. I think I think what they want is they want him defensively over Torrens.
Exactly. And, I'll take a good defensive upgrade to spell Raleigh for a day that can still handle the pitching staff well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take a vet back up to Raleigh until Harry Ford's ready.
Yep.
Next, yesterday, Drew Ellis was optioned to AAA. Carlos Santana was activated, played in his first game today. Kevin Padlo was optioned to AAA, so those guys had a little bit of a minor league stint or MLB stint. Carlos Taylor Trammell was placed in the 10-day IL. Tom Murphy was transferred to the 60-day IL. Sam Haggerty got called up and made an impression.
Dude, he had a heck of a game today.
He had a heck of a.
He got himself a hustle double, stole third.
Game.
Yeah, he had a great game.
He had a heck of a time up.
So my thing with Haggerty, and I think you and I have talked about this before, is that Haggerty's actually like I love me some Demo, but I'll take Haggerty over Dylan Moore these days.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the last transaction was outfielder Marcus Wilson, had his contract selected. He's been in the minor leagues for, I want to say, 6 to 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, they called him a journeyman today is what I heard. So he made his debut, and his first plate appearance, he walked.
And he was all over 99. He was all over 99. Yeah, he was ready to let it rip. He did not hold back.
It's like
he
we were
knew
saying
the assignment.
He was right on 99, and he didn't get fooled by anything. It was a great at bat. I was impressed.
And that's one of his big characteristics is a great eye. That's his saving grace in the minors.
Man, yeah, I'd like to see him stick around. I'd like to see him in September for sure.
Oh yeah,
because he could be a really good piece off the bench late in the game if we need him.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too.
All right, so those are our transactions for the month of June. Jewell, do you want to lead us off with one of your 5 takeaways from the month?
Yes. Since we were just talking about him, I'll start here. I'm in the Sam Haggerty cap. We talked about this. I showed you the sample sizes. The sample size is small, but if you take Sam Haggerty, Abraham Toro, Adam Frazier, and Dylan Moore, Sam Haggerty is the best player of those 4.
By the numbers, he is. I think he's the fastest. I think he's
definitely the fastest. He's the most athletic. He's the most versatile. He can literally play everywhere. Probably not first because he's a little small.
Right. I liked him in right field today. I thought that was great. There was a ball that dropped, but I was kind of like, if Haggerty's not catching that ball, nobody's catching it because it dropped right in front of him.
He was all over it too.
Yeah. Yeah, he played it well, and I like him in the infield too. I think I prefer him in right, but I like Sam Haggerty a lot.
Yeah, I'm in the Sam Haggerty cap. I think this time up he earns a stay.
I think
because especially with the suspensions coming, I'm pretty sure he'll last through then because we need that flexibility.
Yes, definitely.
Because you just don't get it with Abraham Toro.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now hold on with Toro because everybody's been bagging on Toro this year, right? Because he's been terrible, straight up terrible. But the last week he's been really good. He hit that home run after the brawl, made it look like the Mariners were going to pull that one out. Marco had a bad inning and couldn't come back. 2 doubles today, and he's pretty much been a doubles machine the last week. So maybe he's coming around. Maybe it was just a really slow start for him.
I like Abraham Toro more than I like Luis Torrens.
I do too, because Torrens hasn't even hit a home run this year.
No.
And he's had his chances.
And he was crushing them last year late.
Yeah. Like I keep saying every single day, I'm in a Mariners group on Facebook, and I keep saying, like, somebody's like, "Hey, Padlo's gonna hit a home run today. Haggerty's gonna get a home run." I'm like, you know who's gonna get a home run is Luis Torrens. Luis Torrens is gonna hit a home run today, and he hasn't. He hasn't done it. I don't think I've seen him make solid contact on anything other than a foul ball this season.
Yeah, and I just don't think Haggerty's a power guy. He's a slapper.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's too
gonna
small.
slap, and he's gonna use his speed.
Like I say he's too small, which is there's no such thing as somebody being too small to hit a home run, but he's too small to be a power guy.
Yeah. He'll hit one and it'll be awesome.
It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be amazing.
And we're all gonna cheer.
And his walk-up music is the greatest.
What is it?
He walks up to the intro of The Godfather.
Nice. That's awesome. That's amazing.
So I'm a Haggerty fan. I'm taking Haggerty over Toro and Demo and Adam Frazier, who is a bottom 10 player in the MLB in OPS.
Yeah. Speaking of Adam Frazier, I'm gonna skip down because he was not my number one takeaway, but he's on there. And my takeaway is he might be a problem. Like,
explain yourself.
Generally speaking, a problem.
Explain yourself.
So I was thinking, I was like, the Pirates were awfully eager to get rid of him last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Pirates thing. Send a guy to the All-Star game, then you trade him away, right? Tyler Anderson got traded as well.
Except for Brian Reynolds. Except for Brian Reynolds, they just
for now. But they've got O'Neal Cruz. They've got a reason to win. They've got a reason to hold on to Reynolds now because they got O'Neal Cruz, who is just a freak of nature.
O'Neal Cruz. He's
literally
the MLB show create a player in real life.
He's a 6'7" shortstop. Like, where do you find this guy?
Well, there's another guy on the Dust Devils here, left an outfielder, Edwin Jones. He's 6'8", and he's ginormous.
Yeah, they're big dudes, man.
I was up next to him yesterday at the game, and I ran past him during the dash to the outfield mid-game with my kids, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, dude.
All those dudes are just built, though. All of them.
Yeah, they are. There's a difference between minor leaguers and major leaguers, and you can see it in their physique.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that there are some guys who are built for the minor leagues and some guys are built for the major leagues, and you can see it. But anyway, back to Adam Frazier. Yeah. So I was curious, how teams did with how the Padres and the Pirates did with and without Frazier last year. So first, the Pirates started the season 23-43. That's not good. And then
it's the Pirates, though.
Sorry, that was how they ended the season. Sorry, they ended the season 23-43. I guess I didn't get anyway. Which was actually better than the first part of their season, which is saying something. But the Padres were really where we saw this, because I feel like Adam Frazier, he had a good year last year. He was an all-star, everything. So I think he might have been a big contributor, because the Pirates even won 10 games in a row at one point last year, which is pretty impressive, especially for Pittsburgh. Yeah. But the Padres, I feel like, is more damning, because before Adam Frazier, before the trade, they were 59-44. I mean, they're 15 games over 500, and then after they made the trade, they were 20-39.
No way.
The rest of the way, 19 games under 500. That's the reason obviously the math adds up. That's why they finished the season under 500. And I don't know that he was necessarily a problem, because there were other clubhouse problems there. Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis were not exactly getting along the entire time. Tatis was injured. They moved him to the outfield. He really struggled. And so I don't know. But right now the Padres are 45-31. So maybe Tatis is somewhat of the problem. We don't know. But Frazier really struggled in San Diego. His numbers dipped considerably. So the first half of the season with Pittsburgh, he had a 324 average, 4 home runs, 32 RBIs. He had 5 stolen bases, an OPS of 836. And then when he was in San Diego, 267 average, 1 home run, 11 RBIs, and a 662 OPS. Still not like bad. I'd take that, right? But this year it's dropped even more.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like he's hit 1 home run. He's batting 221 with a 586 OPS. And Jewell, you mentioned that he's bottom 10 in the league of OPS. But at the same time, like I'm not expecting Adam Frazier to hit home runs. 1 home run from him this season is fine. What I want doubles. He has 12 doubles this season. At this point last year, he's got 62 hits. But those have come in chunks. The opening homestand, right? He went like, I want to say he was like 6 for 10 or something like that. You know, like he had a 4-hit game, he had a 3-hit game or whatever. So he might have been like 7 for 30. I don't know. He crushed that opening homestand. And I was like, dude, I even told you, like, dude, I love Adam Frazier. All that dude does is get on base.
He reeled us all in.
Yeah. And today he actually had a pretty decent day. But he's been so bad in between. He's already got 36 strikeouts. In the first part of the season last year, he only had 46 total. He had 23 in San Diego last year. And then in 2019, he had 75 the whole year. So he's regressed a ton. And I wonder if some guys, when they regress, they get a bad attitude. And I wonder if there's a problem there. And I'm curious if they're going to try to move him. I mean, granted, there's not much to move there. You're not going to get much back. But if you can get a reliever, what was that?
At the same time, like there's plenty of teams that would take, the shot on Adam Frazier.
Yeah, they would. And maybe he just needs a change of scenery. I don't know. Yeah. But I was really high on him at the beginning of the season, but he has not been good of late. So maybe it's just a wicked slump. I don't know. Maybe they're going to give him a chance to break out of it. But it's gotten to the point where he's been pulled for matchups, which is not something you do for all-stars.
No, and especially when you start the season being the leadoff hitter and now you're the 9-hole hitter.
Yes.
On a matchup basis.
That has been a big problem, is that he's moved down the lineup. And I don't know if that's a consistency, if that is leading to if that's part of the problem, is that they just have too many guys on this team who can bat leadoff. So it's like, oh, you're not doing well right now. We're going to move you down the order. Because I know that there are some guys who bat better at the top of the order, right? And then the other thing with it is I thought that maybe he was having problems being played out of position in the outfield, but I went back and looked, and he's played mostly in the outfield for a lot of his career.
Yeah.
Played a lot of second base towards the end of his time in Pittsburgh, but he's an outfielder as well. So I don't know, man. It's weird. It's baffling because I had high expectations, high hopes of Frazier. Yeah. But he's been a major disappointment, and I hope that he's not infecting the clubhouse.
We hope not.
All right. So, that was me getting long-winded on Adam Frazier. You go ahead, Jewell.
You're good. I'm going to hit up my next one. I'm actually going to talk about a coach. I'm going to talk about Perry Hill, the Mariners infield coach. The Mariners are currently, second in the MLB in errors?
First, last I saw, they had the best fielding percentage in the league.
Okay, so they're 1-2. They're somewhere right there across defensive metrics, majority of them. And this is just how good Perry Hill has been with Eugenio Suarez. The last 3 seasons before this season, so starting in 2021, going back to 2019, -6 defensive run saves at third base, -4 in 2020, -3 in 2021. This season, +4 defensive runs saved.
Wow.
+7 difference.
That's awesome.
That's a third baseman. That's your third baseman right there. And that's a huge credit to the coaching staff. Suarez has talked about it himself. Like from day one, Perry Hill was like, get in here, we're going to work. This is what you're working on. And Suarez soaked it all up because he said he didn't get that in Cincinnati.
Well, they tried to put him in shortstop.
They were trying to move him between third and shortstop.
He's not a shortstop. Look at the guy. I mean, come on.
He's not built for it. But even Suarez has just praised the coaching staff, especially Perry Hill, for just this drastic change in his career defensively. And you watch the last week of games, and he's made dang near every single play at third base you could want.
He's been nails, man. And that was one big thing that I was worried about not having Seager. I was like, who's going to nail down that third base? Because I thought they were just getting a bat. I mean, I told you this before.
Yeah.
I thought they were just getting a bat and Suarez, and they're going to have to sacrifice something defensively with him. But, man, he's been lights out. And I'll admit, I was pushing for Toro at third base because I liked him there. But, dude, I'll take Suarez at third.
Yeah, Suarez looked real good. So that's number 2 for me.
Nice. Real quick sidebar. Speaking of Perry Hill, did you see that when Toro played first base against Houston, he was wearing a Perry Hill first baseman's glove?
Yes, I did, because he didn't have one, and they had nobody else, and so Hill's like, "Take it, you need it." And
it has a gold glove emblem on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually listening to the game. I rarely listen to the games, but I think it was Goldsmith and Blowers were trying to figure out whose glove is that, because Toro's obviously not a gold glove first baseman.
Yeah.
But anyway,
could have called up Evan White. Could have been like, "Yo, can you drive up White's glove from AAA for me?"
Well, he's a lefty, so that wouldn't have worked.
Oh crap, that's true.
Anyway, all right. Okay, next takeaway for me is the pitching has been unreal. We talked about it earlier. They had a streak of 21 games where they gave up 3 runs or less. That
26.
Because it ended. Last time I saw it was 21, but it ended against Baltimore.
It ended
this
on Kirby's.
Week. Yeah,
it ended on Kirby's, and then Robbie Ray started it again the next day.
Yeah, ended it to start it up again. So they've been lights out, absolutely amazing. This is what we expected from this pitching staff.
Oh yeah,
and even the bullpen has been amazing, absolutely
really
amazing during this stretch. These have been incredibly low scoring games. Like I said, the problem has been the bats. The bats come around, the pitching come around. This team is going to be very, very, very good in the second half if it all clicks together at once. And I'm really looking forward to it and really hoping that's what happens. So pitching is awesome right now. Go ahead, Jewell. What you got next?
And that's actually my third. But one pitcher in particular that I'm a huge fan of this kid. He's not even a kid. He's 28, but Penn Murphy.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Penn Murphy, came out of nowhere, dude, completely out of nowhere, and he's pitched to a 1.82 ERA, 2.12 FIP, 35 Ks to 8 walks.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
2022. I didn't grab the innings, but
I feel like he's replaced Steckenrider in this year's bullpen, right?
Oh,
like last year it was like, oh yeah, Steckenrider's coming in, lights out. Not so much this year, but we got Penn Murphy instead, so it's okay, right?
And they've even slowly been moving him into more and more leverage positions. They started him off in like the 5th, 6th inning.
Middle
then after
relief,
a couple weeks, now he's getting 7, 8, and he got a 9th inning look today, a mop-up one, but still a 9th inning.
Yeah, get him used to it.
You don't just give a rookie a 9th inning.
Well, and this is one of the things too, is that Sewald has been a great closer for the Mariners, right? He's been really, really good, but there was a stretch where he was giving up a home run at the exact wrong moment. And so I feel like if you can get another guy in there and platoon Murphy and Sewald in the closing spot, that'd be really beneficial, going into the end of the season. But also, if the Mariners make the playoffs, they get into a series and get past the 1-game playoff and get into a series. Having 2 guys who can close games out would be
you
awesome.
Have 4 guys who can close games out with experience closing out games. You have Sewald, you have Murphy, you have Castillo, and you have Giles.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Got 4 closers on that list. I don't know. I guess by that time Giles will be ready to close things out. I think at this point he's still like middle relief setup man material for me.
Yeah, he worked a good inning today.
He did. Yeah,
very clean, impressed. 2 Ks.
Yeah,
they're being very cautious with him. They use him like once a series, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm fine with for now. Yeah. I think it's good for him. All right, I'm gonna go on to. So this is actually an issue that I've noticed this month is it's kind of coming around, but depth has been a problem. It's like I said, we lose 3 starters on Sunday against the Angels, and the game is over. There's no chance. I mean, the pitchers kept it close, which was I really appreciated, but at the same time, like there was no winning that game.
No.
which was
No.
disappointing because it was a 1-run ball game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like Dylan Moore. I really like Sam Haggerty. I really like today. I liked Wilson, right? Marcus Wilson, but they're not guys who you can put in. And I like Taylor Trammell a lot too, but I don't think that they're guys that you can put in and be like, yes, they're a staple at their position. Like Taylor Trammell is a matchup guy. As soon as they bring in a
100%.
left-handed pitcher, he's out.
He's out.
Gone.
Yeah, he's out of the game.
Yeah. And so, and like we said, Toro has had a brutal year so far. So there's no relief there. Torrance has had a terrible year. There's no relief there. So, and Frazier with his awful year, like, man, today the bottom of the lineup did put together all the production, but at the same time, at 90% of the time, it's 1 through 4. Those guys are doing it. And you lose any of them, we're going to lose some of them to suspensions here pretty soon. And it's a little scary. It's the only saving grace at this point, I feel like, is the fact that it's a weak schedule coming up.
Yeah, that's a great. I think we talked about it, and the Mariners have like the 20, like a bottom like 5 or 7, like. Or
I think they're the
24th.
I think they're 24th in strength of the schedule after being first through this point. So that's really encouraging and makes me think that there's a really good chance that they're gonna pull things out and make playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. On to my 4th, and I love me some prospects. I love me some thinking about the future. And this was as of June 28th. I'm pretty sure I sent this over to you, but catcher Harry Ford with the Modesto Nuts. He's really finding his groove. His last 10 games as of June 28th, 450, 500, 925, 1.425 OPS, 18 hits, 5 doubles, 4 triples, a catcher hitting 4 triples, 15 runs scored, 11 RBIs, 5 walks, 9 Ks, and 2 stolen bases. That's
2 stolen bases and triples.
Catcher.
Yes.
Triples and stolen bases from your catcher.
Yes, I love it.
It's Harry Ford. He's outplayed low A. I'm waiting for him to get called up to high A.
It might be a matter of room on the roster. It's probably just
age and development because he's only 20, but there's definitely space on the Aqua Sox roster.
Well, he spent last year with the Modesto Nuts as well because he got drafted last year, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they call him up next few weeks, take him up to the Aqua Sox. I think really it is just a matter of room on the roster. They're going to have to make some moves, and I think they're just waiting.
I would imagine it's after the trade deadline to see who kind of moves where, what prospects they move, and
could be
what spots are open, and then of course the draft too, because the draft being later. I was actually talking to the voice of the Dust Devils, Doug. He's like, yeah, with the draft being later this year, it really puts our roster in like a really weird place for the second half of the season that we're in now. And with the draft being later, it's like some of those high picks, the first, 1, 2, 3 rounds could end up in high A, could end up in low A, straight from the draft.
So low A is the bottom now. There's no more rookie league right after the realignment, so they're going to be at least in low A, but they could very well end up in high A. Yeah.
There's the ACL.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they necessarily put guys there.
No, they'll put a lot of these guys because the draft's shorter this year. I'm pretty sure it's only 20 rounds.
I think you're right.
If I remember, so. And not even all the guys sign. A team could draft 20 players, 23 players, only sign 18 of them, and 5 go back in. Yeah. It's not something that MLB allows, especially high schoolers. But yeah, so it's just interesting. It's just really going to depend on the draft and depend on the trade deadline before some of these prospects just really start moving around, and prospects get shipped for prospects right now. And
it'll be interesting. So the draft starts July 17th and ends on July 19th, and it is 20 rounds, like you said. I think you're right. I think that is what they're waiting for. Is they're waiting to see how they're going to shift their rosters around after that happens. See who assigned to, see who comes to their assigned team, and all that. So I bet we'll see. Guys
are playing collegiate wood bats this summer and working out. And
I think you're right. I think we'll see Harry Ford in Everett after probably July 22nd.
Probably
is my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. All right. I love it. I am excited for Harry Ford. I am really excited because he is the catcher I always wanted to be, but was not.
Yeah, dude's an enigma. He's gonna be one of those catching talents. That's
Mhm.
just if things continue the way they are. He
Mhm.
also plays outfield. So he's a catcher outfielder, kind of like a Dalton Show and a couple other guys that are
Yeah, and
out there
Bryce
right now.
Harper.
Yeah. So you
But I
never
think they
know.
drafted him with full intent to move him to the
Yeah.
outfield.
And in high A, a lot of guys get moved around positionally. A lot of guys get a lot of work all around like positions next door, just really just trying
I
to
could see that.
work them out. So it's interesting. It's interesting
Yeah.
to see what will happen next
Well,
year.
and one of the problems with it being outfield though is the outfield we've talked about is already really crowded in Seattle.
Mhm.
But I honestly, if he's a step up from Cal Raleigh, keep him a catcher. Keep him
Yeah,
a catcher. I'm
absolutely.
fine
I
with it.
haven't
I
looked at his
like it.
defensive metrics at all because those are really hard to find at the low levels of the
Yes.
minors.
Yeah.
Or impossible, basically,
Yeah.
because they don't care about defensive metrics down there.
Right.
But
Everything's offense. Yeah.
yeah, all right.
You can
That's
have 10 errors and bat 500 and they'll call you up.
oh,
But
100%.
okay, my next thing. So I talked about how things are they're just not deep right now, right? Like that's an issue is depth. However, I don't feel like it's going to take an all-star roster to get this team to the playoffs. It just has to click. Just has to click. For a while there it was offense, for a while there it was pitching. If we can get both things going at once, this team is unstoppable.
Oh, 100% agreed.
Like if they can play the Astros the way that they've been playing them, they can play against anybody like that because the Astros have been a wrecking ball against everybody else this season. The Yankees didn't lead in a 4-game series and they split.
Oh yeah, that Yankee series is nuts with the Astros, and the Yankees are
Yeah.
supposedly the cream of the crop in the MLB right now. But the Astros look like the team to beat, and the
They
Mariners
do
beat
right
them.
now.
The
Yeah,
Mariners
Mariners beat
can,
up on them.
if they can beat the Astros, anything's possible.
Yeah, so I think it just has to click. And I think it feels like we're just right there with it, right?
Yes,
That any one of these days they're just going to go on a tear. And we could be in the middle of it right now. Like we said, 7-2 this month could be in the middle of it, and we could be seeing it, and it could be the start of things, but it's just got to click. And this team will be in the playoffs.
And
All right, what do you have?
that's an excellent segue into my last one. It's the
Okay.
lineup after the All-Star break. Lineup after the All-Star break looks like this: J.P. Crawford, Ty France, Julio, Winker, Hanniger, Lewis, Suarez. Suarez gets moved down to 7. It'll probably be up a little bit, with these guys coming back. But Cal Raleigh at 8, and then whoever at second base.
Which is funny because that's the same thing we were saying last year. So whoever is playing second base that day, Dylan Moore or whoever.
Or, even I doubt it would happen, but France at second. He has experience playing second. You put Santana at first, let Lewis DH. It could happen just to, get everyone reps and keep your best lineup on the field. If Santana's crushing it and Lewis is crushing it, you're not going to put Lewis in the outfield until next year, probably.
Or ever.
At
this point, you just keep him as a DH. He's an organizational DH. I'm fine with it.
Very Yordan Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
Except
he plays outfield every once in a while.
And he played it today and got a concussion.
Yes, he did.
Poor guy. That was a bad hit. But
was.
Yeah, no, that's my lineup. The lineup is the biggest takeaway. Post the All-Star break, Julio, France, Winker, Hanniger, Crawford, Suarez, Lewis, Santana, Raleigh, that's a playoff team.
That is a playoff team.
Those are 2 playoff lineups. You have Adam Frazier, Dylan Moore, Abraham Toro, Sam Haggerty, Taylor Trammell, all these guys.
That's one of the things about all that is that there are enough guys that you can platoon second base and pinch hit as you need to.
Exactly.
Frazier has not been great defensively, but I'll take him over some guys defensively. I'll take Dylan Moore defensively at second base. He's been great. Sam Haggerty at second base? Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so the second base can be platoon, but keep the top 8 like that with Cal Raleigh, how good he's been.
Mm-hmm.
He's established himself as the everyday catcher.
That bat at the bottom of the lineup is awesome. I love it.
Following Suarez even, it's insane. Just if everything would have went to plan this year, the Mariners would probably have a similar record to the Yankees, especially with the pitching and everything.
They'd at least be contending with the Astros right now.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't be 13 games behind. They maybe be 1-3, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It's
Hanniger,
crazy.
Hanniger probably be in MVP talk.
So we had David Sampson on the Big Show, and I said, and he's like, I can't believe how disappointed the Mariners have been. He's like, I had them winning the AL West, and I told him, I said, I didn't, because I feel like the Astros are still the cream of the division.
They are.
I was like, but I did have them close, and I had them making the playoffs easily. It's like, but the Mitch Hanniger injury, and he did cut me off, and he said, well, everybody has injuries, and I didn't get a chance to say, well, most teams don't have injuries as significant as Mitch Hanniger and Kyle Lewis.
Yeah.
Right? That
And
could
Tom
be 30
Murphy.
home runs. But that could be 30 home runs right there between the two of them. And that's a huge deal, because that goes into my final one is the offense has not been terrible. Has not been bad. The problem is they're leading Major League Baseball in runners left on base. That if you have Hanniger and you have Kyle Lewis, guys who are proven hitters with runners in scoring position, runners on base, that number cuts down. That number cuts down big time, and they're scoring runs and not leaving those guys on.
Yep.
And that's the problem. That's the offensive problem, is that they're getting hits, they're getting on base, but they just can't get the hit to bring them around. The number of times, I mean, how many times did they load the bases against the Angels last week? Like 4 times in one game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's infuriating.
Guys get on base. We just don't have anyone to really bring them in. The guys that could bring them in are also on base.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're getting the hits to get on base, but there's like a black hole in the lineup, especially when Torrens is there and Toro late, before the last week, and they're not bringing them in. So it's a problem. I think that if they cut that number down, especially like I said, when Hanniger and Lewis get back, if they can cut that left on base number down, they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think it's a big second half looming.
I think so too. I'm really optimistic.
36 and 41 today, right? So almost at the halfway point.
Yeah.
78 games, 77, 78 games. After the Oakland series, we'll be halfway there. If we can come out 3 or 4 against Oakland, it's a very interesting July with trades. And because the Mariners already got the trade party started with the Santana deal.
Yep. Yeah, there are going to be some deals made. They're going to be there. And this is real quick. This is a bonus one. I said after the first month, I said that the Mariners need to figure out how to win on the road. They've been better on the road than they have been at home. 19-22 on the road, 18-19 at home. That's encouraging, because you can't continue to lose at home. No,
you just won't, especially with the summer. Fans getting out to the park, and it's just better weather. It was a pretty crappy weather up in Seattle the first part of the season. I went to a game in April and it was freezing.
Yeah.
I'm going to a game on Sunday.
Nice.
It's a day game, and it's supposed to be like 80, and I'm like, perfect.
That'll be perfect. So that'll be awesome. But Seattle baseball family, let us know what you think about the Mariners this month. Are we being delusional by being so optimistic going into the second half of the season? I feel like June was a good month. I think it was a sign of good things to come. But let me know what you think. There's a link down in the description of every single episode. You can send us an email. You can jump on the mailbag and let us know what you think. You can also go to baseballtogether.com. There is a link at the top of the navigation to send us an email through the mailbag. While you're on the interwebs, hop on to 9plusus.com, spell it out, NINEPLUS.com. There's a link down in the description to the Seattle collection. Use code CPOD, SEAPOD, to get 15% off your order anytime. Not just your first order, anytime you order Seattle Baseball Together merchandise. And we have a Not Sexy shirt that Jewell and I both wore last month, available just for you. Shirt, tank top, sweatshirt. Go check it out. Jewell, tell them about the Ballboy blog. And, while you're on the interwebs, buying some great merch, the Not Sexy shirt is excellent. Actually saw a poll on Twitter today was, don't think, just click. Who's sexier, Marco Gonzalez or Robbie Ray? Who did you pick? I think my finger landed on Robbie Ray. Oh, I landed on Marco, so we canceled each other out. Okay, fair enough. But, yeah, theballboyblog.com, ballboyblog.com.
Ball Boy Blog on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials. Just really starting to go away from more of my pieces over the last 2 years that were very statistic heavy, very research intensive, just because I got time for that. And I just wasn't having fun. So now we've moved to more beat writing for a local minor league baseball team. We've moved to just more fun ideas, summer vibe checks. Is it time when got like 300 views? Just about the Mariners, just like what they should do next. I'm still personally in the camp that if we fired Service, which I doubt at this point, the job should go to Negron. If you haven't checked that out, go and check that out, because you'd be surprised about Negron's track record managing with the Mariners. Very, very surprising for me to learn. But yeah, that's all I got. So
awesome. I think that is going to be a talking point next month, depending on how things go, is that midway through May into June, we were ready for Service to be canned, which I have not been calling for that, but I thought maybe the team had hit the ceiling. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. I think we're going to evaluate at the end of the season how Service has done, because I think he's going to make it through. I guess that's a little tease for the end of the season and maybe months coming forward, because who knows what July, August, and September hold. So we'll see what happens.
The next 4 weeks for baseball in general. It's the only major sport out there on TV.
Next 2 months.
It's going to be a crazy month of June for a lot of teams, just really doing some soul searching and trying to figure out if they're playing for it this year or if they're, shipping it off to 2023, if not even 2024 for some teams. Yeah. Just depending on the moves they make. So.
Yep, exactly. But baseball family, thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate you listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can. Go check us out on YouTube. We do put this up on the Baseball Together YouTube page. But baseball family, thank you once again, and we will catch you next month.
Thanks, baseball family.